Chapter 37 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, Sanjeevini again. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Rama was sighing with sorrow, and he sat by the side of his brother with his eyes raining tears. Lakshmana was his alter ego, and he could not bear this grief. He lamented, "I have seen my beloved Lakshmana on the ground. He has been grievously hurt and his body is covered with the dust of the battlefield. I have no longer any desire to win the war, or to live, or even to rescue Sita. These things do not seem to be worth anything now. What is there for me if I win this war when my brother loses his life? I do not desire the kingdom nor my life. Kinsmen can be found from place to place. Wives can be found everywhere. But a brother, one who is born with me, who has been like a shadow to me, who has been my sole supporter and comfort during my dark days, will I find him anywhere? There is no place where I can find another Lakshmana." Rama was now sobbing openly, and Sushena said, "My lord, Lakshmana is not dead. His face has not lost the glow of life, and that makes me realize that he is not dead. His face has not the darkness which is associated with death. His face is like that of one who is in deep sleep. His palms are still as pink and soft as a lotus, and his eyes have not lost their flash. This is not the face of a dead man. Lakshmana's face is that of a long-lived man. His face has all the beauty and auspicious signs which indicate a long life. He is not dead. Abandon this grief. Lakshmana, the killer of his foes, is very much alive. There is no doubt about it." Sushena turned to Hanuman and said, "You are the only refuge for us. You once brought the hill containing the Oshadis at the request of Jambavan. Can you do it again? The Oshadis by name Vishalyakarani is enough to bring him back to consciousness and heal his wounds." Before he could complete his sentence, Hanuman was in the air, rushing towards Himavan. He went there with the speed which was his heritage. He looked at the earth, and soon he was high above, and in a matter of moments he was landing on the peak which contained the Oshadis. He looked at the many creepers, and as before he did not know which was the Oshadi wanted by Sushena. Once again he lifted the mountain, and all the while he thought, "This is the safest thing to do. I may in my excitement take the wrong herb and do more harm than good. I will take the Sanjeevini mountain itself, and Sushena can do what he will with it." He carried the small mountain in his right hand, and he flew back to Lanka. Sushena took the herb which he needed, and the army was amazed at the feat of Hanuman. When he breathed in the healing leaves of the herb which Sushena had crushed and held to his nostrils, the fragrance of the herbs made Lakshmana rise up from the ground, and he had shed his weakness. The healing fragrance of the herb had made him lose his fatigue, and his wounds had all disappeared. Lakshmana was his old self. Jai Shri Lakshmana, Jai Shri Hanuman, Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 37, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, Sanjeevini again. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Rama was shedding tears of joy, and rushing to Lakshmana said, "Child, Lakshmana, come here. Come to me and sit by my side." With wet eyes, he embraced his beloved brother and said, I am the most fortunate of all human beings. I see you alive and know, one knows the extent of my good fortune. Lakshmana, if you had died, then the world would have had no meaning for me. Sita, my life, and the kingdom would all have meant nothing to me. I would have killed myself if you had not been revived. Lakshmana was overcome with affection and he was also distressed at the words of Rama. He said, Rama, you have been famed because of the fact that truth is your religion. You should not have behaved like any ordinary human being and given to grief like this. The valiant never go back on their words, and you should remember to keep your promise. You should not be despondent for my sake. You must kill Ravana and fulfill your promise to yourself. When he is summoned with your roar of challenge, he will not be able to face you and your fury. Before the sun sets, you should fight with him and kill Ravana. If you really desire to kill Ravana, to keep up your oath, if you really love Sita, then listen to my words and summon him to fight with you. You will certainly kill him today. I know it. Lakshmana's words made Rama feel proud of him. This brother of his had been the sole source of comfort to him during his days of pain, and now he was a source of inspiration to him. Rama called himself fortunate that he had a brother like Lakshmana. Jai Shri Lakshmana, Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamastu. Chapter 38 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, the final encounter. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Ravana was facing Rama, and the words of Lakshmana were still ringing in the ears of Rama. He took up his bow, and from the string poured forth a stream of deadly arrows, fearful enough to scorch the world. Ravana had taken another chariot, and he was as glorious as the sun in his chariot, yoked with the 7 horses and steered by Aruna. Ravana's arrows were equally deadly, and each was like the Vajra of Indra. Rama's arrows, tipped with gold, were flowing in a continuous stream, and the fight was a glorious sight to watch. The skies were filled with the celestials who had assembled to see the fight, for which they had been waiting ever since Narayana had promised them deliverance. They exclaimed, "This is an unequal fight. Ravana is riding in a chariot while Rama is standing on the ground. Rama should have a chariot too." Indra agreed and summoned Mathali, his charioteer. He asked him to take his chariot to the earth and ask Rama to ascend it. All on a sudden, the divine chariot was found on the field of battle. It was a chariot wrought with gold. Several bells tinkled at the edge of the roof. Gems of translucent lustre glistered on the pillars of the chariot. There was a profusion of chamaras, and the famed green horses were yoked to it, horses which were decorated with garlands of gold. Mathali approached Rama and said, "Rama, Indra, the Lord of the heavens, has sent this chariot to be of use to you. It will help you win the war. This bow, which is divine, and this armor have also been sent to you along with these arrows, which are like the rays of the sun. Indra has sent you his Shakti. Valiant one, I will steer the horses as you wish and help you to conquer this Ravana, even as Indra did the Asuras." Rama looked at the chariot and then at Lakshmana. They both smiled knowingly. They had seen this chariot years back when they were paying a visit to Sharabhanga. And again, Agastya had told them that Indra would send his chariot to Rama when the need arose. Both the brothers remembered this, and to them it was a good omen since the gods were favoring them in their struggle with Ravana. Rama, who made the entire world glow with his radiance, went towards the chariot and, after making a pradakshina to it, he ascended it with great humility. Both the chariots stood facing each other, and the sight thrilled those who were looking on. The fight was to begin. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 38, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, the final encounter. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Ravana took up the Gandharvastra and dispatched it, and Rama took the same astra to counteract its effects. Devastra was used against Devastra. Ravana felt angry and he sent the astra Rakshasa. The arrows, as soon as they left the bow, became poisonous serpents and hissed at Rama. Their faces were like flames and they were spitting poison. They were like Vasuki and their hoods were gleaming, and all the quarters were filled with myriads of snakes. Rama leaped with excitement, and with a faint smile on his lips, he invoked Garuda and sent the astra towards the Rakshasastra. The gold-tipped arrows from Rama's bow became each a Garuda, and they sought out the serpents and destroyed them. Ravana now shot several sharp arrows at Rama, and with some he hurt Mathali. The banner of Indra's chariot was felled with a single arrow of Ravana's, and he aimed some more of them at the horses. The celestials were unhappy at the turn of events, and they could not but admire the valor of Ravana. Rama was also hurt because of some of the arrows of Ravana, and this caused consternation and sorrow in the minds of Vibhishana and the others. The heavenly rishis were also unhappy. The sea became turbulent, and the waves which rose up from the sea were so high that they seemed to be trying to reach the skies. The sun lost his glow, and he seemed oppressed by Dhumaketu. He looked fierce. The planet Mars tried to touch the star Vishaka, which was presided over by Indra and Agni, which was the family star of the kings of the Ikshvaku race. Ravana looked like the mountain Mainaka as he stood in his golden chariot. Rama was finding it difficult to meet the shower of Ravana's arrows with his own. He was furious at his frustration, and with his brows knit in anger and his eyes red, he glared at Ravana as though he would burn him up with his eyes. The world trembled at the sight of Rama in his anger. The mountains were shaking in fear, and the lions and tigers in them were frightened too. The birds and the beasts wandered around in fear. The sky was filled with evil omens, and the sight of them and the frown on Rama's face made even Ravana pause for a while in uncertainty. The gods were watching the encounter with eager faces, and the Asuras blessed Ravana while the Devas were accompanied by the divine rishis when they said, "May you be victorious." To Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 38, Part 3 of Ramayana's YUDHAKHANDA, the final encounter. Apadamahartaram dataram sarvasampadam lokaviramam shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyaham. Ravana, in the meantime, decided to put an end to the life of Rama. He took up a trident in his hand. It was as strong as Vajra. It was a great weapon, capable of killing any enemy of Ravana. It was fearful to look at, with sharp points, and smoke was emerging from it. It was like the personification of the god of fire. No one could go near it, and even Yama could not withstand it. The world trembled at the sight of it. Ravana took it and held it firmly in his hand. He roared with excitement, and the sound was echoed from everywhere. With a trident in his hand, he spoke to Rama. Rama, I am extremely angry with you. I am sending this trident at you, and it will take your life. I will soon kill you and make you one with the Rakshasas who have been killed in the battle. Stand firm and receive this shula which I am hurling at you. While the words were flowing from his lips, the trident left his hand and went fast towards Rama. Like lightning, it streaked across the air, and the noise was like thunder. Rama bent his bow and sent arrows to break the trident, which was speeding towards him. At the end of the yuga, when the great pralaya occupies the world, a great fire will be seen and a great deluge will occur too. Even so, Ravana's trident, which was full of fire, was met by a rain of arrows from the bow of Rama. The arrows were all burnt up by the trident. Rama saw his arrows turning to ashes, and the sight incensed him. He took the Shakti which Indra had sent him with Mathali, and grasping it firmly in his right hand, he hurled it in the air. The skies glowed with the brilliance of the Shakti. The trident and the Shakti met in mid-air. The trident was broken by the Shakti, and it fell on the ground, its fire quenched. There was joy in the hearts of the Vanaras in the army. Rama then aimed his arrow at the horses of Ravana's chariot, and he hurt Ravana in the forehead with 3 arrows. His body was covered with blood, and he stood undaunted, looking like an Ashoka tree in full bloom. He was very much hurt by Rama's arrows, and his anger mounted. Again, there were arrows from both their bows aimed at each other, and the fight went on. After some time, Rama spoke. He said, "You are a blot on the name of the noble house in which you are born. My wife, when she was alone in Janasthana, was stolen by you. Such a thief can never be classed under the list of heroes. You lured me away from the ashrama, and in my absence, you carried her away. How can you call yourself a hero? You are very brave in the presence of women who belong to other men, and before them you exhibit all your bravery and heroism. You have no code of honor, no shame, and you do not know what decorum is. You are arrogant and you defy fate, and actually you are courting death. You have achieved many great things in the days of yore, but now you are steeped in sin, since you have stooped to an ignoble act, and you will reap the reward for it. Soon you will meet your henchman Kara. Now that you are facing me, there is no escape for you. I will send you to the abode of Yama. After a long time, I will be able to get my heart's desire. My anger will finally be appeased." Rama continued to send arrows towards Ravana. His valor was undimmed by the length of time which had been spent on the fight. His eagerness, his enthusiasm, his quickness were the same as they were when the fight began. All the astras were at his command. Ravana was beginning to find himself unnerved by the valor of Rama. He was not able to dispatch his arrows as quickly as before. His bow also was not used as often as it ought to have been. His heart was not in the fight, and so his weapons were proving futile against the onslaught of Rama. His charioteer saw the condition of his master, and quietly he steered the chariot away from the presence of Rama. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 38, Part 4 of Ramayana's YUDHAKHANDA, the final encounter. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. When Ravana recovered from his faint, he who was spurred by death looked at his charioteer and asked him why he had brought him away from the front. He said, "What have you done? You have caused me to be ridiculed by the world. They will consider that I am lacking in valor, in prowess, in courage. They will certainly censure me as a coward, and I will be considered to be a weakling. I am proficient in Maya tactics. I am conversant with all the astras, and all this will be forgotten because of this one foolish act of yours, which has disgraced me. Why did you bring me, my chariot, to this spot away from my enemy? All the name and fame which I had earned through the years have been lost in a single thoughtless moment. Mine was an enviable name, and it has been sullied by this seeming fright on my part. Try and rectify the fault. Take me back to where I was before, and let me not be challenged by my enemy." The charioteer spoke calmly, and though he was insulted by his master, he did not think much of it and said, "I am not afraid, my lord, nor am I foolish as you seem to think. I have not tried to make you out to be a cowherd. I only tried to protect you and your good name. In my affection for you, I did what you do not relish. I saw that you were very much fatigued and there was a lack of enthusiasm in your fighting. Our horses were also tired because of the excessive heat of the sun's rays. They could not run as fast as they should. And again, I was seeing evil omens all around me, and I did not want anything to happen to you. You know, my king, that it is the duty of a charioteer to guard his master, even as it is that of the master to guard his charioteer. The place and the situation should be noticed by him all the time, and he should pay attention to everything, whether it is good or not, as far as his master is concerned. He should pay proper attention to signs of fatigue in his master and act as the occasion demands. I acted only in accordance to the rules which guide such as me. You must command me, and I will obey." Ravana was mollified by the words of his charioteer, and he spoke softly to him and said, "I am pleased with you and your affection for me. I am flattered by your concern for me and your loyalty. Take me to where Rama is and station the chariot in front of him. This Ravana will never return from the battlefield without killing his enemy." Ravana was so touched by the concern of his charioteer that he took off the bracelet he was wearing and gave it to him as a mark of his appreciation and affection. The horses, which had been rested, were now led towards where Ravana wanted to be taken, and soon the two combatants were facing each other once again. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 38, Part 5 of Ramayana's YUDHAKHANDA, the final encounter. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Agastya was one of those who was watching the fight from the heavens. He had seen Ravana, who was fatigued, and he saw the chariot being maneuvered away from Rama. Agastya now approached Rama and said, "Child, Rama, I suggest that you recite the great mantra by name Aditya Hridaya, which will grant you victory over your enemy. It is in praise of your original ancestor, the sun. The recital of the mantra will assure man of victory over all his enemies. It is a mantra which is very jealously guarded. It is ancient, pure, and the harbinger of victory. It is the holiest of holy mantras. It destroys all sins, and no man who recites it will have any worries. It drives away sorrow and it lengthens the span of life. It is in praise of Surya, the god with 1,000 rays, who is worshipped by the Devas and the Asuras alike, who is the source of all light and the Lord of the world. Worship him, my child, and you will destroy your enemy." He taught Rama the great mantra and added, "A man, when he is in trouble, when he is in danger, when he is alone in a forest, or when he is oppressed with many worries, should recite this mantra and his troubles will vanish. Concentrate on the form of the sun and worship him. Repeat the mantra 3 times and you will certainly defeat Ravana. Rama, you are a great hero and there is no one like you in the 3 worlds. I wish you well." With these words, Agastya went away from there. Rama touched water 3 times and, purifying himself, he took up his bow and, looking at the sun, he repeated the mantra by name Aditya Hridaya. A sense of peace enveloped him and a strange exhilaration too. He knew that he was certain to kill Ravana, and his hands were eager to shoot the arrows at Ravana. He went near to where Ravana was, and Ravana had already advanced towards him. Surya was surrounded by the heavenly host, and he was extremely pleased with Rama, and he blessed Rama so that he could succeed, and he spoke the words, "Make haste." Jai Shri Ram. Shri Ram Ram Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 39 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, the killing of Ravana. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Ravana's charioteer whipped the horses and the chariot was rushing towards the spot indicated by Ravana. Rama saw the chariot. He saw the black horses and the glow of the chariot, which was like the sun in its radiance. The weapons placed in it could be seen from a distance, and the noise of the wheels was sonorous, and it was like the rumbling of distant clouds. Rama spoke to Mathali. "Mathali, look at the chariot of Ravana. Evidently, he does not know even the rudiments of the language spoken by the omens. His proceeding in the apradakshina direction, which is perhaps dictated by his innermost desire to be killed by me. Go carefully towards him and I will destroy him. Do not tire yourself. Do not be upset by any reverses and steer the chariot with care and concentration with the reins held firmly in your capable hand. You are the charioteer of Indra himself, and I do not have to tell you anything about how to steer the chariot. In my enthusiasm about the immediate fight between Ravana and me, I am trying to remind you of these things, not telling you anything which you do not know already." Mathali was pleased with the courtesy the innate chivalry and nobility of Rama. The chariot moved in the right direction, moving towards the right, which is Pradakshina, and soon the vehicle of Ravana was covered with the dust raised by the chariot of Indra. Ravana began his assault with his arrows, and the great hero Rama took up the bow sent by Indra and the arrows which were like the rays of the sun. A great duel was fought between Rama and Ravana, who were like two huge lions attacking each other. As before, the heavens were filled with all the Devas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Kinnaras, and the Maharshis who had been waiting for this encounter since so many years. Evil omens were seen. These spelt misfortune to Ravana and good to Rama. Ravana's chariot was bathed in blood. The breeze was blowing in the wrong direction, and eagles were flying in a group, and they were wheeling round his chariot. Ravana's men were distressed by these omens. Rama saw at the same time the signs which predicted victory for him, and he was greatly pleased. The great encounter began. The army stood still and watched the heroes fighting. The weapons they held in their hands were just there, and no one thought of using them. The army was like a painted army on a cloth. Each of the two fighters, Rama and Ravana, had made up his mind that this would be the final victory, and they fought intently. Ravana aimed at the banner of the divine chariot, and the arrows proved futile. They could not touch the banner. Rama bent his bow, and he felled the banner of Ravana's chariot. Ravana tried again and failed every time to hurt Rama's horses. He sent weapon after weapon at Rama. It was frustrating for him to see that his aim was not reaching the objects. The horses were unhurt. Rama, on the other hand, was smiling slightly, and he shot arrows which were, however, cut off in their course in the sky by Ravana. Neither of them seemed to be gaining the upper hand. The fight was, however, fascinating for those who were watching. Both Rama and Ravana were masters in the art of archery, and the movements of their chariots, the deftness with which they bent their bows and shot the arrows were pleasing to the eyes of the lookers-on, who stood still with wonder. Ravana's arrows were aimed at Mathali. They did not harm him, but Rama was incensed. He tried to punish Ravana. During their fight, the earth trembled. The sun shone but dimly, and the air was not blowing at all. All nature seemed to stand still. The heavenly host seemed to be getting disheartened at the prolonging of the fight. The rishis began to chant verses, wishing for peace on earth and the general good of mankind. They said, "May the cows and Brahmins be without fear. May the world be without danger. May Rama defeat Ravana in the battle." They stood watching the fight with great concern. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 39, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, the killing of Ravana. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. The Gandharvas and the Apsaras stood spellbound while they watched with astonishment the strange fight between a man and a Rakshasa. They saw that the sight was thrilling, and they said, "The sky can be compared only to the sky, and the sea to the sea. The fight between Rama and Ravana can be compared only to the fight between Rama and Ravana." Rama now took up a sharp arrow, and with great force he pulled the string of his bow and sent the arrow towards Ravana. The three worlds saw the beautiful head of Ravana being severed from his neck by it. Even as he was watching, there arose on the neck of the Rakshasa another head, and this head too was cut off by Rama, only to be replaced by another. And so it went on. There seemed to be no end to it, and the death of Ravana seemed to be an impossible task. Rama was beginning to feel worried, and he thought, "These arrows of mine have never been known to prove false so far. I killed Maricha, Khara was killed, and so were Dushana and Trisharas. The entire army of Khara was destroyed by me and my arrows. In the Kraunchavana, Viradha was killed when we were entering the Dandaka, and later, when we were at the other fringe of it, Kabanda was killed. All of them have been unable to withstand the power of my arrows, and yet their power has failed in this vital fight. How is it they are not hurting Ravana?" His face was quite unruffled, though he was worried, and the arrows continued to issue from his bow in an unending flow. Ravana would not be hurt. He was undaunted, and he was fighting just as well as Rama. They fought all through the night too, and there was no sign of fatigue on the face of either of them. While they were thus engaged, Mathali, the divine charioteer, spoke to Rama and said, "My lord, I am surprised at your behaving as though you are an ordinary human being. You are fighting with him, and it seems to me you are letting him off lightly. He has lived long enough. I know that the moment has come and that his death is near. Dispatch the Brahmastra and kill Ravana." Rama suddenly remembered everything. He remembered too the gift of Agastya. The Astra was created by Brahma for the sake of Indra. As its wings, it had Vayu, its tip was Agni, its body was the sky, and it had the Meru for its weight. It was a glowing Astra and extremely powerful. Its radiance was that of the sun, and it was deadly like fire. In noise it was like the Vajra, and as powerful, like a hissing serpent in viciousness. Rama took it in his powerful hands. The noble and valiant Rama took the Brahmastra, invoked it in the manner which had been prescribed in the sacred texts, and placed it on the bowstring. When he did it, the earth trembled with fear, and all the animals and birds made frightened noises. With a frown of anger sitting on his brow, Rama pulled the string to his ear and released the great Brahmastra. It travelled straight, and it entered the magnificent wide chest of Ravana. Blood spurted from his chest, and the arrow, drinking the life and blood of Ravana, entered the earth. Like a servant who returns to his master after he has completed the task assigned to him, the Astra, drenched with the blood of Ravana, came back to the quiver of Rama and remained there. Ravana's life was fast ebbing away from his body, and his beautiful bow slipped from his dying hands. The powerful King Ravana, who had ruled the entire world with the might of his arms, who had been blessed by the boons from Brahma, who had pleased Lord Mahadeva by his chanting of the Sama, who had no equal in valor and in might, who had terrified the world and had earned the name Ravana, now lay dead on the field of battle, even as Vritra when killed by Indra. Ravana, the son of Vishravas, the grandson of Pulastya, the great-grandson of Brahma, was dead, and Rama had killed him. He was a great hero, and because of his love for Sita, he was now lying dead, and the entire field glowed with the radiance which was Ravana. He was like the sun which had fallen to the ground at the end of the Yuga, and he was glorious even in death. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Om Shri Ramarpanamastu. Chapter 40 of Ramayana's Yuddhakhanda, when Ravana died. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. The Rakshasa army fled in terror when they saw their king fall. With tears falling from their eyes, they rushed to the city, and they were pursued by the jubilant cries of the Vanaras who saw the conquest of their lord Rama. The heavens made music, and bugles and trumpets were heard from the skies. The wind was laden with sweet perfume, and flowers from the heavens were showered on the chariot of Rama. Well done, well done, were the cries of those who had been watching from the skies. The gods were rid of their sorrow, and the quarters were shining clear and bright. The sky was a brilliant blue, and the earth was green and sweet with happiness. The sun shone with his old splendor. Sugriva, Vibhishana and Lakshmana, followed by the others, went to Rama and stood there before him with joy writ on their faces. Words would not come to their lips. Their eyes were wet with tears of joy, and Rama, who had kept his oath that he would kill Ravana, now stood proud and happy, surrounded by his men and all his friends, and he was like Indra, surrounded by the Devas. Vibhishana was suddenly overcome with sorrow. He saw his brother whom he had once worshipped as a father, and his sorrow was great. Rama comforted him with the words. Ravana was valiant. He did not die an ordinary death. He fought with great enthusiasm and without any fear. He wanted to be victorious, and like a Kshatriya, he died on the battlefield fighting. Such a hero should not be mourned. Ravana was the source of fear to Indra and all the gods in the heavens, and when he is dead, it is not meet that you should weep for him. Never has a fight been undecided. Either the one or the other has to be vanquished. This is the path pursued by the heroes of old, and this is the right way of living as well as dying for a Kshatriya. A hero who dies in battle should not be mourned. Consider all that I have said and shed this sorrow. Think of the next course which has to be adopted, and make up your mind to be without sadness. Vibhishana said, This, my brother, could not be defeated by anyone. Indra, with his entire host, could not face him in battle. Such a hero has been shattered by you like a wave of the seas, broken up into fragments by the relentless shore. He has given away gems in innumerable number as gifts, and he has tasted of all the many joys of the earth to the full. His servants have been devoted to him. Riches have been showered on his dependents. His enemies have been so far punished by him without fail. He has worshipped fire, and he has performed many penances. He was well versed in the Vedas. He has never once swerved from the proper observance of any rites, religious or otherwise. He was valiant. With your guidance, I will do what you asked me to do after his death. I will perform the funeral rites as per your wish. Rama, the noble, the valiant, spoke thus. Vibhishana, all enmity ends with death. Our duties end when death ends the life of the enemy. This Ravana is as much my kinsman as yours. Perform the funeral rites for him. News had spread like wildfire, and the city of Lanka was a city of woe. Myriads of women from the Antapura of the great Ravana rushed to the field, and they fell on the ground covered by arrows and with blood. They were calling out to him piteously. These women, whom even the sun had not seen, were now on the battlefield, and they sought their Lord. They came to near where he was lying, and there rose up from their throats a great lament. He was like a fallen giant tree, and they clung to him like creepers which had been uprooted along with the tree. One fell on his chest and another at his feet. One clung to his shoulders and another fainted even before she reached his side. One of them took his head and placed it on her lap and spoke endearingly to him. They wailed in despair, and it was piteous to watch them. They said, "This our Lord has driven Indra away in battle. Yama could not face him. Kubera lost his wealth and his Vimana to our king, and the many Gandharvas and Rishis were helpless in the presence of our king. He was a source of danger to every one of them, and such a hero is lying on the ground dead. Our Lord has been granted immunity from death at the hands of the celestials, and he was killed by a man. A mere man who was treated by our Lord was with supreme contempt has now proved to be the better fighter of the two. He has killed our Lord. If only he had listened to the words of his mentors, he would not have been lying dead like this. Sita has been the death of the entire Rakshasa clan, and he was warned about it, but he would not listen. If she had been returned to Rama, all this could have been averted and we would all have been happy. This tragedy need never have happened to him. Fate has decided that events should take place thus and only thus. Fate has ordained that Ravana, the greatest, the mightiest, and the most valiant monarch, should come to grief because of a man and an army of monkeys which aided him. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar